Welcome back to the Flow Friday Sports Show here on Flow FM. We're in the state of South Australia talking regional netball, and it's time to look at KNT Netball, speaking about all things A grade. And joining me is our correspondent from that part of the world, Sally Bywater. Sally, long time between drinks. How are you?
I'm very well, yes, it has been, hasn't it? Feels like we've been through half a year since we've last spoken.
It has been, but good old Dan's been pulling a shift and he's doing a good job, Dan. Well, Sally, let's get into it. We had Naracoorte up against Kingston, and, well, Kingston, not the flashiest of results for them. Tell us how this one went.
Yeah, great game here by Naracoorte. They've probably had a slow start to the season, so they really want to get a good win on the board. And playing Kingston, they were able to achieve this. Kingston, obviously their first year back in the league for a few years, but they were still quite competitive and played that for 4 quarters at Naracoorte too strong to get a nice win for them.
All right, moving along, Sally, Mandala, they hosted Keith, but Keith too strong, 42-33 in the end. Still a competitive showing from Mandala though.
Yes, it was, and they had their ladies' day last weekend, so this was played at 10:30 in the morning, so probably an earlier start for most of those girls to get out there and have a run around, but Keith making that trip and having a great win, and yeah, really one of those teams to watch again this season.
Lucindale, they got up over Bordertown, but that's a work for it. 49-42, the final score. How'd you see this one?
Yeah, definitely. It was close most of the game, so it's probably only 3 or 4 in it for most of the game. But then once the rain hit at 3-quarter time and that last quarter all in the rain, Lucindale just played that more controlled netball to get a good win on the board for them.
In the final game that we have to speak of, Bywater, they got up over Border Districts. 57-51, another close game. People would have been on the edge of their seats watching this one.
Absolutely. I think this was a fantastic game. I think last week I called this as being the match of the round, and I really think it was. It's 2 teams that will be up there fighting for a finals chance this year. And Borders had the edge over them for a few years, so for them to get that win, they'd be very happy with that at home last week.
Penola with the bye. Before we move along, Sally, we'll just look at the ladder. So we've got Penola sitting pretty in top, and then Keith second, Border Districts third, Lucindale fourth, Bywater 5th, Mandala 6th, Naracoorte 7th, Bordertown 8th, and Kingston in 9th spot. What do you make of this ladder with the way it looks so far? We're only a handful of rounds in or so, but nevertheless, we'll just get your thoughts on the look of the placings as they currently stand.
Yeah, and obviously we're only 3 games in, but this is probably the ladder I'm sort of envisioning to see at the end of the season. Probably top 5 that are there now. I think they'll be the top 5 at the end of the year, but as we always say, those bottom 4 can make a ladder look the way it does. So I think it'll be a very close competitive season throughout, and yeah, if you're one of those close games, you're really going to have to get that win on the board to, get into that final spot at the end of the season.
All right, well, we've got some action happening this weekend, that's for sure. Lucindale up against Naracoorte. Bit of a derby, rather, here on the card, Sally. So I'm sure there'll be a lot of interest in this fixture. Which way will it go?
Yeah, obviously it's a bit of a rivalry between these 2 clubs. Lucindale and Naracoorte always have some great games, and I think this will be a fantastic game. I think Lucindale has the edge just against Naracoorte, but they're both playing great netball, and let's hope for a really good game for this one.
Who's your tip out of Border Districts v Penola? Penola, they are looking good this season so far, so it's pretty hard to tip against them, you'd think?
I think so. They're on top of the ladder. They haven't lost a game yet. I think they will get the win over Borders. It'll be a fantastic game. I think there's just going to be a crack around this one, with games can go either way, but Borders in a close one.
Kingston, do they have a chance against Mandala?
I think they'll be competitive. There's a lot of youth in Kingston's side. I think maybe when they play in the second half of the season, we might see a different result. I think Mandala will be too strong, but Kingston will really put up to them, and this will be a fantastic game. Bordertown
v Keith. Keith in second, so you think it's going to be pretty difficult for Bordertown, who are all the way down the bottom of the table, but you never know.
That's exactly right. Bordertown have had some really narrow losses, like only being 3 or 4 down or 7 down for their whole games. And Keith, they've always had that edge over Bordertown. I think they'll have a win here, but it'll be a fantastic game for Bordertown. But yeah, Keith in a close one.
Bywater with the bye. It'd be pretty hard to argue with the fact that obviously the rivalry game between Naracoorte and Lucindale is going to be the one that everyone's talking about this weekend, despite neither of these sides being in the top 3.
Absolutely. I think it'll be just great. I'm really looking forward to this game this weekend. Like, every match this year is going to make a big difference to that ladder. So there's lots and lots of close games. So I think, you really want to get a win early, and that'll set you up for the rest of the season.
Well, there we have it. Sally Bywater, our KNT Netball correspondent. Really appreciate your time. Enjoy all the games this weekend. We'll do it next week, and all the best to you, Sally. Thank you very much.
Sounds great. Thank you very much.